Diana Belbita and Maria Oliveira. In the women's strawweight division, what the odds makers are saying is going to be a 50-50 fight. They're the same age, they're similar height, similar reach, all of that is pretty even between Maria Oliveira and Diana Belbita. But Diana Belbita has not fought in a very decently long time. It's been about a year and 4 months since her unanimous decision loss to Gloria De Paula. She did beat Hannah Goldie, but before that was getting destroyed by both Molly McCain and Liana Jojua. I do believe that in this fight with Maria Oliveira, I don't think she's going to have the striking advantage here. I think Maria Oliveira is going to stay on the outside, use her very small reach advantage over Diana Belbita, stay on the outside, laying jabs, laying 1-2s, just keep the volume pumping on Diana Belbita, defend those takedowns if there are any, and I got Maria Oliveira striking Diana Belbita for 3 straight rounds. If Diana loses by finish, it's usually a submission loss. Maria Oliveira is not going to go out there and submit Diana Belbita, and I really don't think Maria Oliveira kind of has that power to go out there and knock out Diana Belbita. She has okay power, but I don't think she's going to knock her out. I got this fight going all the way. Maria by decision. David Dvorak and Steve Erceg in the flyweight division. Dvorak's only at -175. Which is very, very, very interesting here. I think if this was not a short notice fight, I might put a little bit of money on Steve Erceg to win right there. He's taller, he's lengthier, he's from Australia, and he's got some power in his hands and feet. But mostly he's going out there trying to get the fight to the ground, use that wrestling, use that grappling. If you look at his most recent wins inside of Eternal MMA, he's got guillotines round 1, rear nakeds round 1, and some KOs in round number 1. He's a very solid wrestler, very, very solid grappler, and he's very solid on the ground. But David Dvorak's got solid takedown defense. He is going to be the better striker here than Steve Erceg, in my opinion. I do believe he's going to out-volume Steve Erceg on the feet, defend most, if not all, of the takedowns of Steve Erceg. It's a tough task on any given day to fight David Dvorak, but on short notice, I think this one's going to go David Dvorak. 29-28 unanimous decision. If there's going to be a round that Steve Erceg wins, it'd have to be him getting a takedown and finding a way to just control. Maybe look for a submission, but I highly, highly doubt he's actually going to get and actually fall through with getting that submission in this fight. I wasn't too sure about those betting odds because those were like the exact same odds against Matt Schnell, so I am going to see if they're out here. Yeah, definitely. Those are not the odds, ladies and gentlemen. -275 or -340. I just had a guarantee and recheck that one because I did not believe that he'd be a -175 favorite against Steve Erceg on short notice. So -340, -295. Area, I got Dvorak by unanimous decision. Blake Bilder and Kyle Nelson in the featherweight division. Same age, a little bit of a height and reach advantage for Kyle Nelson, who might have slightly more power than Blake Bilder in this fight, maybe a little bit higher of a finishing ability when it comes to the punches and kicks. But as we know, Blake Bilder is very solid on the ground, has good wrestling, good grappling, a very, very solid ground game. Came in on the Contender Series and beat Alex Morgan fairly easily with that rear naked choke, then came into the UFC, beat an Australian in Shane Young, took him down and controlled him for 3 straight rounds. I don't think he's going to dominate Kyle Nelson here, but I do believe he's going to land those takedowns, keep the striking even for 3 straight rounds, and I got Blake Bilder with a 29-28 decision. Arichi Lang and Ayman Zahabi in the bantamweight division. Age goes Arichi Lang. Height is going to go Ayman Zahabi, and the reach is slightly going to go Arichi Lang. Arichi Lang is going to be the more powerful puncher in my opinion, knocking out Cameron Else, knocking out pretty much a buttload of opponents on the regional scene. Did lose to Jeff Molina in his debut, but that was a war and a very, very close fight. Then he outstruck Cody Durden, but he got taken down, and in most of that fight, knocked out Cameron Else, and then beat Jay Perrin. Now he's fighting Ayman Zahabi, very technical striker. He's got a very good coach in his corner that's very, very focused on game plans and technique and things like that. But I do believe that the equalizer in this fight is going to be the power of Arichi Lang. I think Ayman Zahabi might find a way to win one of these rounds, but I think in round number 2, I'm going to have Arichi Lang catching Ayman Zahabi with a nice hook in round number 2. I think round 1 is going to be very close. Arichi is going to land some good shots that are going to land hard on Ayman Zahabi. Ayman's going to land some good volume in that round. It's going to be a close one. And then round number 2, I got Arichi Lang, the Mongolian murderer, catching Ayman Zahabi with a hook and putting him down. Arichi Lang, TKO. Round number 2. Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Miranda Maverick in the flyweight division, 34 and 25 years old. I am going to go Miranda Maverick to win, but the odds are very, very bad. This is a dog or pass. Ladies and gentlemen, Jasmine is taller. She is lengthier. She's not as experienced as Miranda Maverick, but I'd venture to say she's got slightly better striking than Miranda Maverick. If this was a straight kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing match, whatever the case may be, for 3 straight rounds, I'd probably lean Jasmine Jasudavicius to win this fight, but as you know, it is MMA. You got the wrestling, you got the grappling, where Miranda Maverick is very, very solid at. So I do believe Miranda Maverick is going to find a way to mix in that wrestling, mix in that grappling, and control Jasmine on the ground. But again, if Jasmine is able to defend these takedowns and make this a striking fight, we may be looking at a pretty juicy plus money dog in Jasmine Jasudavicius, but I'm going to go Miranda Maverick by a unanimous decision. Nasruddin Imavov and Chris Curtis in the middleweight division, 27 years old versus 35 years old. Nasruddin is going to be taller. Nasruddin is going to be around the same reach as Chris Curtis here, but Chris is going to be the smaller guy. He's going to be the more powerful guy. But Nasruddin, being the taller guy that he is and being the lengthier guy, he's not lengthier, I kind of made that up, but being the taller guy that he is, trying to stay on the outside and counter Curtis as he's coming in, I do believe Nasruddin is going to land a slightly larger amount of volume than Chris Curtis does in this fight. And Chris is going to come in there and land the harder shots than Nasruddin Imavov, and the Nasruddin will try to mix in some takedowns, mix in some grappling, in my opinion, unsuccessfully. As we know, I mean, Chris Curtis has some very, very solid takedown defense, so I think this will mainly be a striking match where it's going to come down to what are the judges' value, the volume of Nasruddin or those power shots of Chris Curtis. I think they're going to go with Chris Curtis with those power shots. I got Chris Curtis by a 29-28 unanimous decision, and arguably the fight of the night for UFC 289.